So here's the current situation. This is the girls' room, so what we're doing is obviously taking everything out from every corner and every hiding place, and what's going to happen is there's an identical bunk bed just like this that I built when I was in downtown Raleigh, probably, I don't know, 15 years ago. So what we're going to do is come in and cut the boards down. I've got a measurement from the bottom here, and we're going to pretty much just cut these long legs on both sides down so that this becomes a single bunk bed that's going to sit on the floor, and the other one we're going to do the same thing. So this one's already been painted, the other one is just the raw wood, so we're going to take the other one apart in the other room, get all the pieces out in front of the garage and prime it, and then paint it white. And then once this one's cut down, we're going to have a pickup for the mattress and the box springs. This is a queen on the bottom, but we don't want that big of a bed, and the girls want to have separate little single beds. So that's what we're working on today. Nice little project. It's pretty nice out. Cloudy, so you can stand outside and you're not getting burned up, but that's what we're working on for right now, and I'll go out and show you the lumber that we've got on outside that we're using for the other bunk bed that we're cutting down and priming and painting. So here's all the lumber that we've got. These were the old steps on the side, and then, you know, like the other one was, these are the two sides, and then we took the steps off, the shorter boards of the steps, and then the ones that don't have nails in it like this were the cross boards that we had, so the mattress could actually sit. These longer boards here, if you see, they've got a little step on there, and that made it so that the crossboard could go underneath and sit on this ledge, and that's what made it so that the crossboards would sit and the mattress could sit on top of it. So most of these boards we're not really even going to reuse because we won't need all the steps going up the side. This is going to get cut down, so I've already done my measurements on these to where I'm going to make the cut. So I've got a mark like here. There's a mark. So the way that mark works out is that it's right below where the back brace went across, and it gives me 15 inches from the bottom of the bed board down to here. So there'll be 15 inches of space up underneath for storage. So we've got a couple storage bins that we like to use that are 7 inches tall. So if we stack two, it's 14 inches, so that gives us an extra inch of space to double stack and slide them under the bed for storage. So these just need to get cut down, and then once they're cut, then we can prime them and paint them. So we'll work on trying to get these all cut down and primed today. I'll have to look at the instructions on the can of priming paint to see how long we have to wait before the primer dries before we can paint again. But I'll just be using a Kilt 2 primer on all the boards, all the ends, top, bottom, both sides, and then the paint that I've got is just an exterior gloss white. I don't think it's not bare. I'll have to look at the brand, but eventually when I have that out, you can see what kind of paint we're using here. The reason I'm cutting these down is because originally I left a little bit of space at the top and the bottom of the beds for a little bookshelf, but the kids don't really use it, so I'm just taking the end off to make more space in the bedroom, so the beds aren't quite as long because we'll have two of them on the floor. This is continuing our bunk bed project, so we've cut the boards down now, so these are shorter, so this will be the new bunk bed height. But one thing we have here is these bolts that go through. This is like a kind of the main brace of the whole thing. The rest of it's just put in with screws, but these bolts go through. But these ends are sticking out a little bit longer than I want, so I'm gonna cut these ends off The reason that you want to go ahead and put the nut on the bolt before you cut the end off, so that way when you undo the nut off the end of the bolt, it'll actually clean the threads out. If you cut this without the bolt on it and then try to get a bolt started, it's a lot harder. But the way it works, this just ends up cleaning the thread off. So I'm going to cut these ends off real quick. I'll show you cutting a couple of these off. Alright, so that's it. See how it's dripping over the end? That's too much.
Mine?
Look, yeah, yours. You don't see all that paint dripping off the end? Now you painted over my number. Tori, how you doing? Alright, I'll come help you in a minute. Getting there. Got the primer. Some of these are done on both sides now, and just continuing with the process. Some of the numbers got wiped out, so it might be interesting. I pre-numbered each of these boards on the ends where they connect to another board so that I could figure out how to put them back together again, so it wouldn't be an unknown jigsaw puzzle. But we've already lost a good bit of numbers, so we'll see how hard it is to get this thing back together. What are you laughing about? How's it going?
Pretty good.
Is that the last sandpaper that we had?
Yeah, it should last from all these boards left. Got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 more.
You'll notice that there's no filter on this. But I think we've got a fix for it. The cloth itself, right here, came off. away from the plastic. So I just used my crazy glue. This is not the Craggle. Got the crazy glue here. Got it put back together. Hopefully that'll hold. And I'm gonna let it dry for now. We're just kind of, you can sand without it. It can be a little dusty, but just point the point the exhaust away from you, and then you don't have to blow dust all over yourself. So pretty much the process right now.
And now it's time for a haircut.
So we're back in the bedroom now, so you can see where the mattress and the little sideboards, that's what the stack is, and we got some of the legs pulled off that went on this end to climb up the ladder, but we're not going to need to climb up anymore. What we're going to do is we're just going to cut it here, and each of the legs are marked all the way around. So that's going to make it so there's 15 inches from the bottom of the bed to the bottom of the leg for the bins that I mentioned stacking. We're going to take this little homemade bookshelf out, and then I'm also going to cut down the length here. So right now this is extended past the end of the XL size twin mattress this far. This gives an inch between the end of the bed and the end of the mattress and the actual end of the inside of the bed. So I'm cutting this down so that the mattress just fits, so that this isn't really long in the bedroom, so we have more room. So I'm going to use my circular saw after I get the marks made with my speed square. A friend of mine was actually asking if this was a T-square the other day. It's not a T shape, but it's just called a speed square because you can quickly put this anywhere and make your mark. So I'll bring it up to my mark at the top, and I know that this is square. This is 90 degrees, and the little corner here catches on the board, so you can put that anywhere you want to make cuts real quick. So that's where we're at right now. I'm gonna make all our marks and get the legs cut down, and then take the end of this apart and to get the bookshelf out so that I can cut these down to make the bed shorter. Little progress update. So we got the top cut down. So this obviously was sitting way up here in the ceiling, and so we got these posts cut. I just went ahead and cut them in the room. We can vacuum up this carpet, but we're getting rid of the carpet anyway, so it really doesn't matter. But as you can see, just went across and cut the tops of the post off, and we just kind of got up underneath it a little bit and took away some of the pressure so that I could make the cut without it pinching too much. It pinched a little bit for whatever reason on this corner. On the back side there, it kind of pinched, and I think it kind of pinched on the back side of this one a little bit. But now this is what the bed's gonna pretty much look like, and I've got my cross brace stack over here. So these pieces that are down here go between this 2x2. If you can tell, it's a 2x6 going up, and then there's a 2x2 strap just stuck on the bottom, and that makes my supports to go across so that I can put these on the bed. Like, I can put these down on the bed across from one side to the other in between here, and that makes it so that the mattress can actually lay on top of these 2x6 pieces that I cut out. You can use thinner boards if you want. This was a little project I had for an apartment where I was building some loft beds for roommates back in 2006. So these have come full circle. Here we are, 15 years later, and we're repurposing them again. We brought it in here for a bunk bed. You can see where the cat likes to climb up from the floor to get up on the top bunk when it used to be a top bunk bed. So we'll get some paint in here and paint that up a little bit. Just kind of clean this bed up, and then we'll just rearrange the bedroom. One thing I have left to do on these is I've got my marks for cutting down the length. So I'm going to make this bed shorter. It's about 9 inches longer than the end of the mattress, and I just don't need it to be that long. So we're going to cut these down. I'll cut the end off that about 9 inches too. I've got it marked on the other side. You just can't see it. So that'll make it so that the inside of this, with the boards across the bottom set in there, will be enough for a twin XL mattress to sit just inside here, and we'll have 2 of these. We've got another one, the one that we took apart and then primed and painted. It's in the garage because it's supposed to rain today, so we'll put that one together today. So here's a fun little adventure. Got all the boards. This is the other bunk bed. This is the one that was in the other room that was unpainted. So this is the project we had where we took the boards out and painted them. This is the one that was already painted that we just cut the legs down on. I didn't have to take this one apart as much, but this one's been completely taken apart. And as you can see, I tried to be a little proactive and wrote numbers down in these little squares and wrote a square around it with a circle so they wouldn't be painted. Well, where's the circle and square on that one? Where's the circle and square on this one? Oh look, these two have it. These are almost the only 2 boards that actually, maybe this one. So there's 3 out of all these boards that didn't get the numbers painted over, which also includes the ends of the boards, because the ends of the boards were not supposed to get painted. The backs of these are all supposed to have a number on them, so this is something to keep in mind when you start taking something like this apart. You need to mark where the boards go together. So on this one, for instance, there's a 1B, there's a 2B. So on the other end, that would be a 2A, that would be a 1A. Nope, they got painted over. So if you have your kids working with you, this is something that you're going to run into when you have your kids working with you. You tell them a bunch of times, don't paint over the numbers. Those numbers are how we're going to put this thing back together again. All the numbers got painted over. So now I get to spend my entire afternoon trying to figure out how to put these back together without having the numbers with, I don't know, 50 screw holes with all the boards, and how these things are all put together on the ends with all the screw holes in the ends and everything. So yeah, I'm just going to keep working on this. I've got a couple ends figured out. I've got a couple more measurements on these figured out so that I know where the bottoms of the boards go, where these marks are. I made it so that each of these bunk beds has 15 inches from the bottom of the actual post that goes to the carpet, to the floor, all the way up to the bottom of the rail, so you can put storage bins underneath there, that kind of thing. So I'm going to keep working at this, trying to get this all together, and we'll go from there.